In today's video, I'm going to analyze how Gerard Way so effectively explores the topic of parental emotional abuse through the character of Vanya Hargreeves, number 7 from the Umbrella Academy. Before I begin, keep in mind that I'll include spoilers for both Umbrella Academy comic series and its Netflix adaptation. Psychotherapist Beverly Engel defined emotional abuse as a way of brainwashing that systematically wears away the victim's self-confidence, sense of self-worth, trust in their own perceptions, and self-concept. Every kid has the potential to be great. No one is born believing they are worthless. Emotional abuse does work like brainwashing, and this concept is clearly presented in the Netflix series when Hargreeves uses the rumor's powers to engrave in Bunny's brain the idea that she is ordinary. Although in the show, it is the rumor's mind control what makes Vanya forget about her powers and potential, in real life, years of constant berating and belittling can do the trick. In the comics, during the Umbrella Academy's first mission, Vanya has to stay in the jet with Hargreeves to watch her siblings save the world from afar. When she asks why she can be with them, be like them, he straight up tells her that it is because there's nothing special about her, making her the scapegoat child and separating her physically and emotionally from the rest of her family since childhood. During Vanya's adolescence, she and Diego had a rock band called the Primates. Hargreeves mocked the album and her attempt at making a political statement through music. He tells her that she's too young and stupid to make one. Furthermore, he implied that the band was a total waste of Diego's time and abilities, making her feel like a burden for his own brother, who in the comics was also her romantic interest. Vanya felt that she was interfering with Diego's superhero destiny in life, a life she thought she will never be part of because she had no powers. They parted ways soon after this incident. Regarding the consequences of parental emotional abuse, Dr. Beverly mentions that eventually the recipient of the abuse loses all sense of self and personal value. Hargreeves annihilated Vanya's sense of self-worth, and people with self-esteem issues and history of abuse are perfect targets for other abusers and manipulators. In the comics, a villain known as the conductor of the orchestra is very aware of Vanya's toxic family dynamics and uses that to take advantage of her, to experiment on her in painful ways until her powers are unleashed. When Vanya refuses to join him, he says she is more likely going to her family for comfort, in which case we should expect her back very soon. The Netflix series reinterprets this part using the character of Leonard Peabody. His modus operandi is similar to the way abusers manipulate their victims. He love bombs her and makes her believe she is special for the first time in her life, just so he can later control her and use her as a weapon for his own personal revenge. One particular scene that's very painful to watch is Vanya's denial to accept that Leonard is using her. Allison tries to tell her the truth, but she insists there is no way, I love him, and declares that Leonard is the only person who has ever loved me for me. It is heartbreaking to see that even with all of the evidence of Leonard's disturbing nature and intentions, it's easier for her to deny it than to accept that the one time she felt loved, cherished, and accepted was a lie. Elliot's performance in this scene is superb. It captures with micro-expressions and body language how broken Vanya feels. Parental emotional abuse can turn the victim into the victimizer, and these manipulative, hurtful ways are the only means of communication victims know. At the end of Apocalypse Suite, Vanya has her mind set in ending the world, and when the Umbrella Academy members arrive to the Icarus Theater to try to stop her, she tries to hurt them emotionally to put them off guard, first by using Diego's feelings for her. He asks her why he shouldn't kill her, and she calmly replies, because I love you, because I know you won't. Then Paul gets murdered against Luther. Vanya, why don't you just put down the violence so we can talk about this? You should have seen my first time. I was so nervous, my hands were shaking. I broke a string, but no one cared. Paul was there. You guys were close, weren't you, Space? It was clear that none of them had the power to go against her, so cleverly Klaus realized that the only way to stop her was to give her a huge psychological punch. He pretended to be Hargreeves and started to belittle her in the same way he used to, making her feel that regardless of her power, for her father, she was still nothing more than a stupid little girl. By making her relieve her trauma, Klaus nullifies her confidence and gets her to stop playing. His words brought her to tears. Were you speaking to me, Vanya? I'm sorry, but I'm busy at the moment putting a stop to your tantrum. Tantrum? You're calling this a tantrum? I'm about to end this world. No, you're not. You're losing. You were an utter disappointment as a child, an embarrassment. As an adult, so you can play the violin, big deal. You can't even destroy the world properly. Face it, Vanya. You are a failure. This part is very telling. No matter how much a victim of parental emotional abuse grows, how much time passes, or how much the person achieves, it takes only a memory, a word, or an action reminiscent of that abuse to reduce a powerful, independent adult to the same powerless child that they used to be. As Dr. Beverly states, emotional abuse cuts to the very core of a person, creating scars that may be far deeper and more lasting than physical ones. It was genius of Gerard Way to use the superhero genre to explore toxic family dynamics and the long-lasting effects of parental emotional abuse, equating superpowers to a person's talents, abilities, and potential. Gerard makes the crippling effect of this type of abuse visible and tangible. Vanya lived all her life believing she was inferior, flawed, not good enough to be the superhero she was supposed to be. In real life, victims too can ignore their potential to be great. They might settle for a life full of pain thinking that's what they deserve, and it can be difficult for them to recognize patterns of abuse and to differentiate between healthy and unhealthy relationships. Parents are the first human connection a child makes, the only window at human behavior that have for at least 5 years. They see the world through their parents' eyes. They believe that all they say is true because they are adults, they know better. If you are a parent or ever plan to be one, remember the importance of your words. You build with them the first mirror in which your kids will see the reflection. Make sure that they are proud of what they see and proud of who they are.